Hello One Piece enthusiasts, I'm the One Piece nerd, and today let's talk about ELBAF. So, I've been waiting to make this video for a very long time, and I didn't know if ELBAF was going to be a thing until chapter 1066. So, we always knew that maybe at some point would be there, but it was never solidified. Especially after, whatever happened post Wano, everything was just going all around the place, so I had no idea which direction to go. And Egghead started, I was like, okay, this is probably it before we move on to, Laughter or somewhere else. But chapter 1066 hit, and I think it's confirmed. Now, before we move on, make sure to like and subscribe. It helps the channel out a lot. If we reach 100 subs, I'm gonna make the best One Piece video I've ever made in my life. And for up until that point maybe, and it helps the channel. I really appreciate it. Now let's move on. So when talking about ELBAF, there was always things to do in ELBAF, especially with Usopp, with the promises made with the Giants, with Big Mom, with Shanks' connection to ELBAF. It was always one thing over our heads that maybe or maybe not would happen in the story of One Piece, because the way Wano was rushed, I feel like a lot of unnecessary things would be cut out from the story. So I thought ELBAF was going to be one of them, but then we have this. So what I mean by this, Jaguar D Saw is alive, and the books from Ohara, not the poneglyph, the books from Ohara, from the Tree of Knowledge, is now in ELBAF. Dr. Vegapunk has all the knowledge of whatever the books, but the books themselves are still in ELBAF. Saw is still alive, and in my chapter review, I said that the man marked by flames cannot be Saw, and I am wrong. I am very wrong, because when I looked back and I saw that he was bandaged up, and it probably makes a lot of sense that he is the man marked by flames. The reason I had doubts in this is because of him being in hiding. With Saw being in hiding, you don't want anyone to figure out, like I said in my chapter review, that you don't want anyone to figure out, Saw is alive, because he was a former Marine, he is a D-Clan member, he is a giant that was in the Ohara incident, who survived the Ohara incident, and someone like that, if the world government gets to know about their existence, and this is basically a surefire, you do whatever you can to eliminate him. But with Kid and Law having that knowledge, and I believe Blackbeard has it too, it seems as though everything is coming to ELBAF, and I don't see any other way possible for them to avoid it. Robin's reuniting with Saw, with Usopp making promises to the Giants, Dory and Broggy, even Hajruddin and everyone else, every other Giants we know, they're all in ELBAF, and it is going to definitely play a very pivotal part in the story. So what do I expect out of it? From the way it looks, if Saw is in hiding, I really thought that Blackbeard got his hand on the fourth poneglyph, but I'm wrong. Again, I feel like I'm wrong. It makes absolutely no sense for Blackbeard to get the fourth poneglyph if we're definitely going to ELBAF. Then again, the battle between Luffy and Blackbeard couldn't happen in Laugh Tale, it could also happen in ELBAF. Because either way, both of them are going to go in the same direction. Law finishing his fight with Blackbeard would definitely move on for the fourth poneglyph if he doesn't have it. And for Luffy, his basically journey to Egghead and then now building it up to ELBAF is sort of solidifying that's exactly where they're gonna go. I thought Luffy was gonna speed run his way through Egghead and ELBAF and then reach to Laugh Tale or wherever else it was. So it seems as though that it's not gonna be a speed run because it's very important. Robin and Saw's meeting is very important, and if Blackbeard reached ELBAF, you don't expect the Giants to hand over the poneglyph to Blackbeard, especially knowing that, the Straw Hats would be there. Robin has no idea of Saw's existence, but that doesn't mean Saw doesn't know anything about Robin. She's been making dangerous plays ever since she was a child, and Saw would definitely anticipate the Straw Hats to go to ELBAF. It's going to be great. Now, what do I expect to happen in ELBAF? With Egghead, I don't expect Dr. Vegapunk to say everything he has, because that would make the books in ELBAF irrelevant. And I don't think we have the time for it. Maybe Dr. Vegapunk would be showing us things around the island, and especially the ancient kingdom technology that existed in the Void Century. But anything aside from this would basically be a waste of time. Number one, CP0 are on their way. Number two, a build up to ELBAF. And number three, it just makes a lot of sense for the information to be revealed at the right place and the right time. This is not it. What do I expect to happen? Egghead, a fight between CP0 and the Straw Hats, maybe. I don't know how easy or hard it will be, but I'm sure that it will happen. With Dr. Vegapunk maybe or maybe not being assassinated, successfully assassinated, Egghead would remain a world government stronghold until Luffy decides to make it his own territory, which is also remarkably possible. Moving along that, if, for example, Helmappa and the others come to Dr. Vegapunk for Seraphims to go rescue Kobe, and then Luffy meets Helmappa again and hears about Kobe. I don't know where that can go. That seems a little unlikely right now with everything that's been happening, and I feel like we're definitely gonna speedrun our way to ELBAF. Dr. Vegapunk may or may not be the sacrifice needed for the Straw Hats to go to ELBAF, and once they do, that's where they face off against Blackbeard, and that would make the most sense. And with Saw being a D member and Shanks having connections to ELBAF, Shanks presumably has access to 4 of the poneglyphs, and he's probably gonna make his way to Laugh-Tale, just the way he said it. Now, Blackbeard somehow has to win this race. If Blackbeard doesn't, that would basically make Shanks versus Blackbeard an entirely impossible case. If, however, Shanks is waiting at ELBAF for Luffy or Blackbeard, then we could have a 3-way fight, or however way we want it, but ELBAF has to happen. So with that being said, Man Marked by Flames Kid, they have no lead. They have no lead on the Man Marked by Flame. I don't know where they heard it from, but they have no leads. If they did, they would just, go there immediately, would know the dire course of action. So that isn't likely. And with the books remaining there, I don't think, maybe Kid at some point would be catching up with Luffy and the others, but Law is gonna be defeated. We're gonna make our way to ELBAF. Saw is there. Robin and Saw has to reunite before anything goes down. Blackbeard would want to pull up a scheme after defeating Law. And finally, the books that contain the information. Last, on my chapter review, I did say that the books could be a collection of whatever Professor Clover came up with in his era of voyaging around the world as an archaeologist. It could have his information as well, his findings, and could add more information as to what Robin knows thus far alongside the poneglyph. It could also have information that, that from other books that Professor Clover collected on his voyage and on his journeys all across the world. It could have information related to the Void Century even before the Void Century, because remember, Void Century is just the one century where the fight between the Ancient Kingdom and the 20 Kings happened. Everything before that and after that is always a mystery. How did the world government keep control of power? What happened before the world government was formed? What happened when the Ancient Kingdom was in power? Where was Joy Boy? The 4 poneglyphs showed us to Laugh-Tale, but there are definitely other information that are needed to be known for the sake of the world building that we've been built up so far. It feels as though those books can contain information outside of what we're dealing with, and I'd like to know a lot about them. Overall, ELBAF is gonna happen. A big fight is coming. Everything is going to go down. I said Egghead was gonna be an island of conflict. Maybe I was right, maybe I was wrong, but ELBAF is a surefire case, and it's gonna be greater than ever. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. Have a great day. Peace.